So, Michael, it's blustery conditions. We've gone in sheltered from the elements, but a good victory, great start to the campaign for Andy Friend's side.
Absolutely. If you'd have said to them before the game to score 6 tries against the aristocrats of French rugby and to not concede any, Andy Friend would have taken your arm off for it. Great start to the Champions Cup campaign.
Yeah, there was so many unknowns with the team, and even a couple of changes again this morning, I suppose, on both sides. But particularly from the French, the Stade point of view, we didn't really know. But for the opening 10 minutes, I thought they were quite physical. They didn't do any damage on the scoreboard, but they were causing Connacht a lot of problems. Some powerful play out there.
Absolutely. I think they came with a pretty limited game plan in the first half. Sanchez, after a couple of capries, it was always going up in the air, as well as Gray taking the ball on. But I thought Connacht's first up defence was really impressive from the first minute to the 80th minute, and it really negated any opportunity for Stade to build any kind of game plan, because those first hits were double hits. The likes of Della Hunt, Prendergast, who I thought had a fantastic game, and it really put Stade on the back foot, which really negated their opportunity to score tries. And then conversely, Connacht had a different game plan with Jack Carty pulling the strings and scored some 3 fantastic tries in the first half, which really set them up well for the second.
That's the thing, this Connacht side has been, got the plaudits for being brave in possession. Like, there's many of the team here that would have elements like this and would play a different brand. But you go back to even to the opening try. Penalty on the 22, turned it down, went to the corner, trusted the line out, and got the rewards ultimately.
Absolutely. I think Pete Wilkins, the head coach, talks about constructed chaos from Connacht's attack this year, putting players under pressure to perform in positions they wouldn't find themselves, and you could see that in all their gameplay today. And I thought, as you said, from the first whistle, John Porch on the left wing, been out for a while, really stepped up to the plate today, and as I said, found holes in the Stade defence with a great try.
Carthy, he's in the form of his life, really. He was almost the quarterback, if you want to look at a different role. The passes for the second and third try as well. That one just before half-time as well. Crucial score. Absolutely.
His game management today was fantastic. In quite trying conditions, there was a swirly wind. It was better than a few weeks ago against the Ospreys, but still taxing. But Jack Carty knows every blade of grass out there today, and I thought he controlled the game really well. And just that try especially, built pressure, and the minute there was an opportunity, he strikes, saw the opportunity, and a couple of over-the-top balls to the wingers when their kind of wingers stepped in, and as I said, scored some great tries out there today.
You could feel the momentum come out. There's a big roar. Carty got the conversion right on the half-time whistle as well. That kind of you felt like Connacht were getting, you talked about game management, they just strangled hold of the scoreboard if nothing else on that one, and set perfect way to go into half-time.
Absolutely, and at half-time they were fairly comfortable. I suppose second half they did switch off slightly. I think Stade Francais, weirdly enough, they slowed down the tempo, which meant they were coming back more into the game. Connacht's game plan was keeping the ball in play all the time. Don't let the game slow down and let the big rumbling Stade Francais pack kind of take over and start building pressure. But Stade managed to kind of, in the first 15 minutes in the second half, they got the first score on the board. It was a 10-point game. They were getting more and more pressure with their driving mauls from the 4-man lineouts. The pressure was building, but then, Connacht took all on board, absorbed it, and were able to turn defence into attack. And then after the 4th try was scored, that was pretty much game over.
You spoke about Sanchez, I think we'll all look back on that, the one he got in the first half, the one from the halfway line, absolutely nailed it. But the second half, it's still quite windy here, but it was such a wind coming in towards the main stand on the far side as well. A couple of efforts to touch, he went high, held up in the air. He didn't adapt to the conditions really.
Absolutely, but I think it was 1 minute where he did 2 unforced kicks, one straight into touch, second one as well, same, and I think he got one in the ribs as well about halfway through the second half. He stayed down for a while, and I think at that stage then he said, right, game over, I think we want to get out of here, and trying the whistle couldn't come soon enough then from a Stade perspective.
Yeah, Connacht did, they pushed away at the end, but you mentioned, you say the opening quarter of the second half, we want to call it that, the power play, that pack seemed to get stronger and bigger with all the changes they made. They were able to get control of the ball. It was very scrappy, but I suppose Connacht will be happy that they've held out to just 3 penalties in the end.
Absolutely, and look, with Finlay Bean going off before the game with an illness, there was a lot of pressure today on Robertson McCoy. You then had Ainger coming on, and Jordan Duggan I thought did well when he came on, but they were under pressure in the second half from the scrum. And it is a concern. You'd hope that Beelan will be fit next week, because I think they really need his leadership and his experience in there, because going to Welford Road against the Leicester Tigers team, who are 9 from 9 in the Gallagher Premiership, is going to be a whole little different kettle of fish.
Yeah, the three tries at the end, there was a bit of element of finishing off the big roars. I think Stade want to get on the bus, and they're playing out over there as well. They did what they have to do, but if we look ahead to that double header now, it's pretty intimidating task, isn't it? You mentioned 9 out of 9 in the Gallagher Premiership. It's going to be a step up and maybe a couple of staircases up on the opposition from today.
Absolutely, and I think the Leicester Tigers, I think they have one of the best attacks, but really importantly, they have the strongest defence in the Gallagher Premiership. So it's going to be a really interesting kind of coming to two different kind of game plans. Leicester Tigers, traditionally at Welford Road, will be really asking questions up front. But Connacht, there was a lot of guys who weren't out there on the pitch today, the likes of Alton Delan. As we said, hopefully he might come back next week. There's talk Paul Boyle might be fit again, which I think will add some extra impetus to the pack in the backs. I hear Bundy's back training on the pitch, which would be obviously a huge positive from a Connacht's perspective if he's able to for selection next week. Tom Daly as well. They're missing a lot of players, but I thought today, a lot of guys stepped up to the plate. The likes of Shane Bolton, Sammy Arnold, who's performing week in, week out, and Cian Prendergast, who's just getting better and better from each week.
Yeah, no, it was the perfect start to the campaign. The victory that Andy Friend wanted, the bonus point, but it's going to be a big ask, really, isn't it, to progress through this pool?
Absolutely. As I said, it's a double header now with Leicester Tigers. They really are flying it in England, and it's going to be a huge test. But look, they went out there, they did what was asked today. They scored 6 tries, they didn't concede any. They're going to go to Welford Road, and Leicester, similar to Stade today, Leicester aren't going to be used to coming up against a team like Connacht, and they have to trust their philosophy that Andy Friend is bringing, this structured chaos that Pete Wilkins talks about. And if they can do that, they're one of the fittest teams around in Europe. If they can do that, they have a chance.
I'll put you on the spot then. From what we've seen today, have they enough to progress? Would you be confident?
It's going to be really tough on Welford Road. I think if you're looking at it from the outside, I think if they can get anything from the game and losing bonus point, I think they might take that, and then it's all to play for back in the sports ground, where on the day they can beat anyone here, and we've seen that over the years in the Champions Cup. So I think if they can just get out with something next week, I think they'll be grateful for that, and then come back to the sports ground the week after, all guns blazing.